In studio with me, we have Erick Oduor, who is the SecGen for Kenya Union of Journalists. I also have a veteran journalist, and that's Tom Osanjo. And, well, basically what we're looking at is, or initially we looked at some of the coverage and investigative journalism, but we'd also like to turn our attention and focus on the role for some of the bodies that have been put there to protect or maybe take care of the welfare of journalists. And that's the Kenya Union of Journalists. We have Editors Guild, and we have the Media Council of Kenya. Let me start with you, Tom. You have been a journalist for a while, in the field for a while. Have you felt the relevance of these bodies?
I think MCK is a rather very new entity compared to the Editors Guild or Kenya Union of Journalists.
Or maybe let's start with your understanding. What are they there for?
MCK has been there for a good time, and in fact, it's done very well in arbitration. If someone wrongs you, you can go to MCK and complain. I remember the case of Uhuru Kenyatta when he was minister, I think. He had a case where he reported to MCK, and actually the newspaper concerned was compelled to pay him, which is a good job for me, that they're doing a good job. Editors Guild, I don't think they've done a lot in as far as maybe training of journalists is concerned. I'll also choose to disagree with my long-term friend here, Erick Oduor. I don't think KUJ has done a very good job. Apart from agitating for better pay, I think, Erick, you should now move forward. What are some of the partnerships do you have with the African Union of Journalists, for example, the other journalist organization in the world? Do you have exchange programs where Mike here can go to Germany, do a feature story for a month, or work in a TV station for a month? I think those are now some of the areas now you should move into.
Okay. Erick, let me bring you in here. And what is the core reason that we have KUJ? What is KUJ there for?
I would say that, number one, we need to see KUJ as a trade union, just like any other trade union, just like NAT, KUPPET, WASU, that our primary responsibility is to protect and champion the welfare of journalists. And we do that just like other unions by having collective bargaining agreements for our members. Just like here, we do a very good collective bargaining agreements for standard journalists. So for members, they benefit every year salary increment and other allowances and other welfare-related issues that are covered under the CBA, because the union's main responsibility is representation. Just like Tom is saying, that we have got many partnerships. Like we speak right now, I think there is a journalist from Standard Group that is undergoing training at African Union of Journalists in Cairo. He has been there for 2 weeks. He will be coming. We have partnerships with the International Federation of Journalists, where we've had a number of trainings for our members. I think there is even one that is coming up here in Kenya next month. We also work with other unions all over the world, like the National Unions of Journalists in the UK. We also partner with them just to see if there is any exchange programs that we have.
But are these benefits that are there in welfare associations that are there for the journalists, are they out there in the open? Do people know about them? Because there seems to be, I just did my own survey asking, different journalists, are they members? And majority of them, well, say no, and the reason was, I don't see the reason. I don't see the need.
Yeah, I think that's an excuse that has always been given by journalists, because these excuses are there. I think for the members of the union, I think if there's no one who will say that we are not giving them services, because all members of the union, like I said here, we've done CBAs. Even right now, we are in the process of doing another CBA for another 2 years, just like other unions. It's only that maybe in our own interest, and this is a fact, that maybe journalists, we are very lazy when it comes to covering our own issues and our own welfare. We will rather go and cover other leaders. I'll give you an example, and this is a challenge that was thrown to me one day when we were having a meeting of trade union leaders, when I was being told that, you see, you journalists, you are not steadfast when it comes to welfare. And this is what the question that was thrown to me, that suppose we were to have 3 press conferences at the same time, at 11 o'clock, And this was, and I even asked journalists this one, once I was asked this one. I was to address a press conference on the welfare of journalists in our office at International Life House. Then Sosion was to address the press conference at headquarters, the same time at 11 o'clock. Then Francis Atwoli was to address the press conference at the same time at 11 o'clock at Kotu. Which press conference will get the maximum coverage? Your guess can be as good as mine. That KUJ will get the list, if there is any. And when I asked this day, we were having a meeting with the journalists, and I asked this question, and this is what they told me. That number one, I'll go to Kotu and cover Francis Atwoli first. Then after that, if I get time, I'll pass by and see if I can get Sosion just to get a statement from him. Then I'll call you later in the evening if you can give me a story.
Give me a statement.
So you can see the mentality amongst journalists themselves. But actually, right now, I can also say that at least that mentality is slowly changing, because we're also coming up with different strategies on how to reach out to young journalists who have joined the industry. That's why I talked about a program we are running with the International Federation of Journalists, which will be kicking off next month, just to find out the strategies and the way and the means on how we can reach these journalists and more journalists, so that we can have everybody on board and have a very strong union, just like other unions.
All right, Tom?
Eric, I think maybe there's a gap somewhere. You've talked of some journalists who go in partnership, but how do they get to know? How will Mike here know that there's an opportunity in Germany? Do you have a program how you communicate this nation to them? Or is it a network of friends? Where
and it brings about the question of awareness. Even just knowing that the Kenya Union of Journalists is there, there's not enough or much publicity that is created around.
How do you communicate to them?
I think we have a network of members, because we have a register of members, and every media house where you have members, you have a WhatsApp group, whereby we are able to put every opportunity that is there. You see, one thing that we must know, that these are member-based organizations, whereby once you are a member, we have got the responsibility of championing and protecting your interest. The problem comes where everybody wants to join, everybody wants to benefit from the programs of the union, and they're not members of the union.
Okay. Tom, have you done your bit as a journalist to ensure that you're, first of all, a member, and secondly, to follow up on what is required? And what would be the ideal situation for you as a journalist in regards to KUJ?
Okay, I was a member of KUJ before, until the time where there was a scandal with some prominent Kenyan involved, where there was awards, and these people was it laptops or TV sets?
Television sets.
Some TV sets disappeared and apparently were not awarded to the right people.
And then from then, KUJ went into a crisis. And I really want to thank Erick here, because he's really tried to restore that image of KUJ. And I believe KUJ should even be more proactive. Erick, you're saying your friends your colleagues don't cover you. And I agree with you. Because you find journalists, we don't give prominence to our own stories. If Mike here wins a serious award, we will give him just 2 paras. But some councillor in Muranga dies, we get a whole page.
But it might also be a question of what is more important to the viewer, because if you won an award, that is an award that we celebrate you as an individual, but it's also a very, people out there may not care that you've won the award.
But so long, just give me that space, or just give me that time on TV.
Let me tell you, I think the story that happened around 3 weeks ago. Because right now, as KUJ, again, something that we're doing are now even devolving our presence from Nairobi to other counties by opening county chapters. So we went to open a county chapter in Nakuru. So all these journalists came. So we asked them that, you guys, this is your event. No single journalist had a camera. So we asked them, this is your event. This is your event. Suppose teachers were having their own meeting and the elections. We'll have every camera will be here. But this is your event.
Yet
there's even no camera. So that's when they're, but that's a very good point. So some of them went to bring their cameras and see that that event is covered. So you see, one thing that, again, journalists also need to know, that journalism is just a profession, and journalists are also workers just like other workers. Let us also begin from there. Journalist is not a superhuman being. You are also a worker, where by the end of the day, you also have some welfare that is also supposed to be protected. And once that sinks in, then you now start looking at how you can join a union. I know there is no employer that will ever allow an employee to join a union. It's a matter of is a pull and push between the two parties, an employer and an employee. So journalists must also come out to join the union, then the union can now protect them. But it is also difficult for somebody to expect that you are going to deal with these issues when they are all sitting on the fence.
Mike, there's another question you asked me, that what would be my ideal situation of KUJ. I think, Eric, you need to do more publicity. And also we need to know, because right now, I think you are the only official of KUJ I know. Do you have a chairman? No,
just general publicity.
What I will say is that, and I'll disagree with Tom, because again, it depends with how you get this information. If you go to KUJ website, KUJ has a website.
Okay.
Where all the officials and the pictures of the officials of KUJ are there. So it's all about maybe how you get your information. If you have interest, you'll get that information. You just go to Google. Nowadays, you just go online.
Google is your friend.
Yes, and you'll get the entire executive there.
Do you have other officials?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What do they do?
Because yeah. You see,
and here's the thing, Eric. Tom is a veteran journalist who's been there for a long time. Now, you can imagine if he doesn't have that information literally at his fingertips, what about the other journalists who are coming up? Do they even know that there is a Kenya Union of Journalists? Do they know what the KUJ is all about? And it's fine to have the information on a website, but awareness would go a bit more than that.
Yes, even if you look at even our social media pages are also very active. You just go there and get information, and if you get that, you'll always find information, including the photos of the officials. So it depends on how you get this information. That's like I said, that as journalists, we've never considered having a lot of interest in our own welfare. Because if you are interested, yesterday I was having an interview with some university students who just wanted to know more about information. And these university students, they are able to get to me through through online. They were able to go to the KUJ website and social media, find information there. Called, I gave them an appointment, they came to the office, and they're able to find me. So it's about who wants to get this information. But I also agree with you that maybe we also need to devise other ways of reaching out to potential members. That is true, because we already developed a 3-year strategic plan that actually is also working on attraction and retention of members by coming out with various outreach programs. So I totally also agree with you that maybe we also need to come up with other ways on how we can reach more potential members to join the union.
All right, and we are soon going to wind up, but let me come to you, Tom. And in terms, one of the welfare issues or concerns for many journalists is purely just protection. We talked about investigative journalism not too long ago, and one of the biggest concerns for anyone would just be the fact that you're putting your life on the line. Do you feel that these institutions that are in place there to protect you are doing an adequate job in ensuring that you as a journalist can work in an environment where you feel safe?
I think from my experience, it's basically you're on your own. After you do the story, you leave the newsroom. You're on your own. I'll give you a specific example. One day I covered some prominent Kenyan, and the man had been arrested. He was taken to Gigiri police station. Because he was influential, he was not taken to a cell. He was given the office of the deputy OCPD, and that's why he brought in new mattress, installed DSTV, and brought his own bodyguards. So actually, one of the cops there got very agitated. He came to the office and told me the story, and I went to Gigiri. I saw it. I saw the man living there. He was living large with his own bodyguards right inside the police station. I wrote the story, it appeared on page 1, and the guy told me, Utaniona. So it reached a point when I was leaving the office, going to catch Matatu home, I have to get a colleague to look around. Is there anyone following me? Then we disappear. And so from my experience, I don't think if these organizations are doing enough.
What is it that would have been done for you to feel safer? Because does that mean then every journalist who's doing those sensitive stories requires a bodyguard, requires a chase car? How do we deal with that?
Let me respond to some of these issues, Mike. I think maybe the biggest problem that we have in this country as a journalist, once somebody has left a newsroom like Osanjo, he does not keep in touch with industry peers and what is happening in the industry. I do not think if there is any journalist in recent times, at least when I've been in office as the Secretary General of Kenya Union of Journalists, where a journalist has been threatened and no action has been taken. I know there are like some names you've mentioned here. And you were talking about the role of these institutions, KUJ, MCK, and Editors Guild. Actually, right, we work as a team. And there's cases whereby even we've taken these journalists to a safe house. There's cases where even I've flown journalists out of this country just to make sure that they're safe. What happens is that some of these issues are very sensitive. You wouldn't go out there and start announcing that, oh, you know, Mike of KTN was under threat, and we have taken him to Netherlands or in Europe or in the US. We've done so many of those cases, including recent times, which I also not mentioned. But what I can tell you is that there is no any single journalist where has been threatened and no action has been taken. So we have various safety funds being run by different organizations, and so long as once we get that information, we surely get into action and see what needs to be done. And we work as a coalition with these three organizations and other partners. So I can assure all journalists out there that if you are threatened and your life is in danger, action will be taken. You will be given the adequate protection. If there is a need for it to take you to a safe house for some time, we do that. So it happens. So that one I can tell you that we have that capacity and the mechanism and arrangement how we do it. Let me just quickly say that some of these challenges have been there for a very long time, and I think for us as various organizations within the industry, we've realized that there is need for us to come up with a better way on how to deal with these things. Because you will find sometimes there is issues that need collective voice. So we've already formed what is called Kenya Media Sector Working Group that is co-chaired by KUJ and MCK, where we are, because again, outside of these three organizations, there are other associations that are dealing with sectors, different bits like parliament, courts, politics, so that we can harmonize and have synergy in all everything that we are doing. And over this weekend, we are going to Naivasha just to sit down and come up with a strategy and a roadmap on how we are going to deal with these challenges, so that we can see that, okay, fine, if you're talking about the welfare, because I think the issue of welfare is coming out very prominently. Some journalists are not paid at all, others are underpaid. We deal with, say, fine, KUJ, we are giving you this responsibility within this number of months. We want to see action done and the action point. Then we give that to the editors. People are talking about and complaining about the quality of, because that is the responsibility of editors. People are complaining about the falling standard. People are complaining about quality. What are you going to do that? Then we give that responsibility to the editors. We give MCK to deal with, because that's in the regulator, so that they can also see, look at issues that can be dealt with in the industry in terms of as far as regulations is concerned. So by the end of the day, when we'll be leaving Naivasha over the weekend, we are going to have that strategy that we are going to use. And one thing I must also tell you, and must be prepared, that from next month, we are going to have press clubs. We are launching press clubs. These three organizations actually have already put in place the mechanism to do press clubs, whereby every month we'll be having a professional forum. I think the first one will be taking place on 12th of June, and I think it will be a luncheon where we can come there as professionals and start discussing, and also even do peer review, so that if you have a story, you've done a fake news, we'll put you on the spot. As Mike can tell you that, Mike, when you were on KTN editor, you ran fake news. Can you please explain to your professional peers why did you do this? So those are some of the things that we are doing, because these challenges have been there for long. So we have already come up with a better way. Then every month we'll be meeting. In June, we'll have another one. In August, we'll have another one. So we'll start seeing things changing. So there are some things that we are also doing behind the scenes so that to address all these challenges. So all is not lost, Tom.
Okay.
You are invited to come for that. Mike, you will be invited so that you guys come and talk as professional colleagues. You've seen others do that. Lawyers have their own monthly meetings and they do peer reviews and look at what is happening and address some of these challenges collectively.
All right.
That is what we are also working on as these three organizations.
All right, gentlemen, we'll have to wind up there because of time. And Erick Oduor, SecGen for KUJ, and Tom Osanjo, who's a veteran journalist. Thank you for joining us this morning in the newsroom. It is now 8 o'clock, and we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we've got stories making headlines, so do stay with us.